Alright, so setting up your computer. So I've had people where their computer looks like this, like, oh my god. And like literally I have clients that come in and I'm like, oh, time out, we need to arrange a few things before we start planning anything. And like, this is bad. Like, so disorganized. Like, how the hell do you find anything? So you've got to have a rhyme and a reason, or you're just like stressed, constantly stressed. So the first thing I want to show you guys is organization. So your computer dock, which is this down here, okay? If there are things down here that you do not use every day, get it away. Get it away, okay? So how you get things away is you can right click, do two fingers, you go to options, you can keep things in the dock, or you can, get it out of the dock. My dock's cleaned up. So like if I close this, like I can do two fingers and quit it, or I can do Command Tab and I see everything open. And then when we go over shortcuts, I'll talk more about this. But this is just subliminal distraction. Like if you're not using the things down here, get rid of them. Like they're still going to be there, you guys. You can take 5 fingers and do this. And like there's all your stuff. Okay?
Two fingers, 3 fingers.
Okay? And there's multiple ways to get to these things, okay? Again, I'm a creative, I'm orange, I'm visual. I like to see it like this. And then I take it a step further and I make folders. So my business folder matches my phone folder, which matches my iPad folder. So your brain doesn't have to work as hard to find your shit, people. You can also do Command N, which Command N, if your cursor is on the desktop, just gives you a new window. So you can also get to your applications right here. So if you like things in list view, here's all your applications. So this and this, same thing, okay? Now, if you don't have time to organize all your stuff, just go up here to the search bar, type in what you need. Just like pulling down on your phone and typing in for the app, right? So that's why I tell people that are creatives, I'm like, you are killing your brain productivity-wise when you're not doing the same gestures on all of your devices. Does that make sense? So like, for instance, for notifications, like my notifications are right here, right? So, and my do not disturb is on while like I'm in mirror mode, so there's not like notifications and stuff. My notifications on here, and again, you have to set this up. So when I pull down, like here's all my notifications, right? So when I'm in a meeting for 8 hours and I really need to check out and be 100% with that client, I can. And I don't have to open 15 different apps at the end of the day. They're all on my notifications. So your dock down here, when you start organizing your computer, like start with the dock and put things in here and put them in order. So every day I'm going to open my email. I'm going to open my calendar. I'm going to open Wunderlist. I'm going to use my notes. I'm going to use my reminders. Don't use Post-it notes. These little things don't sync. I use them in real time, but if something happened to your computer, you're done. Just use notes. Use this.
Is that the regular notes?
Yes,
Okay.
and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. I'm going to use Chrome for me. Like I'm logged into Chrome up here as myself, so everything is good. For Safari, I use Safari for other clients. So like all the healthcare stuff that I'll help my friend with sometimes, like here's all the folders of all the social media that we used to help manage for every single practice. And this is before Facebook Manager launched Manager, anyway. But like right now I'm logged in as myself up here. But I try to use different apps or different browsers for different things. I think that Chrome, Google is way past Safari as a business person in terms of organization and the power. So, for example, like if I go to Chrome on my phone, every single tab up here, which I probably have 20 tabs open, can be open on here too. You just have to tell it. You have to sync it. Safari doesn't do that, at least not yet. So there's a lot of powerful things, and you want to log in as Google because you want it to remember everything for you. Everything down here I use pretty much every day. A couple things to show you while I'm down here is, okay, you guys asked me how to record your screen. So this is QuickTime. QuickTime comes with your computer. So basically you open it, right? And then I'm going to go up to File. You can do a movie recording, an audio recording, or a screen recording. So I often do my screen because if I was doing an audio recording, why would I just not use my phone? Like, it's so much faster, right? So when I go to record my screen, there's a couple things that you need to know. The most important is this little bitty tiny arrow right there. You've got to make sure that it's in the right audio setting. So like one time I'll never forget, I like did an hour-long screen thing and my freaking microphone wasn't on. It was on none. I was like, God, so I had to redo it. It was so bad. I'll never do that again. So like I've got the Yeti microphone plugged in right now, which I use this to do podcasts, and it's just a lot clearer. But I only really use it when I'm like trying to capture something that sounds really good and the noise and all that. But usually I'm just kind of doing it on the go. So you want to choose that. Then when you hit, so I can click or tap, not click. Do y'all know the difference? Tapping is just tapping where it doesn't make a noise, and clicking is where you actually have to click, click. You're killing your ergonomics, your everything. You're killing your trackpad too. But more importantly, this repetitive motion, and old BlackBerry users, this repetitive motion goes all the way through here, through your elbow, up through here, all the way down your neck. So it's like when you repetitively do something, like this little joint. Have y'all ever had acupuncture? Like, it is psycho how everything is connected, right? So like one time he did something in my toes that like helped my knees. I don't know. It's quite fascinating. But anyway, so I can either click my full screen, which I typically don't really want to do because like I have stuff all over my screen. I don't want people to see everything. So you can hold 3 fingers down and drag so it only gets a portion of the screen, okay? And then you start recording. And it's filming my screen right now, and it is picking up what I'm saying. Then you close out of it to save it. I still don't know how to really close it out like good. I just go to 2 fingers down at the bottom. I hit quit, and then I name it test, and I tell it where to go. This is the most important. I have people that are like, I don't know where my stuff is. You got to pay attention. I put everything on my desktop and immediately file it to where it goes. Because I don't really, I could, I guess, go to Dropbox. It could go, like, I don't even use these pictures folders. I clear out my downloads folder at least once a week because that can take up a lot of your space. I just put it on my desktop. And so then I'm going to save it, close. If you ever can't get out of something, you can always hit escape too. Like, you know those annoying pop-ups? They just keep, like, you just X out of it or hit escape. So, like, then I'll go to a new screen. So F3 is your best friend if you have a Mac. And there's, like, all these different, you can have up to 30 open at a time. I'm not suggesting this. It will slow down your computer. However, F3. We may need to set up your, so F3 gives you, see all the different desktops up here? So like Desktop 1, I have set up as my email. Desktop 2 is my calendar. Desktop 3 is my notes. Desktop 4 is the PowerPoint,
Do you keep your calendar
So you
open
can
all
set
the
your
time?
desktop.
usually. It's good to close. I would let your computer sleep. Computers are like people, they need to sleep. So at least once a week, I try to shut it down, shut everything down, and let it sleep on Sunday night while I'm asleep. If something's not working right or something's running slow, like every once in a while, Google Chrome, because I have so much open at once, when I'm working on different projects, like it'll just do weird shit. And so I just shut it all. I don't close everything. There's a difference.
Do you just let it turn off?
I just shut it off.
Or do you shut?
No, you have to go up here and
I
turn
didn't
it.
know if you just let it
You have to, no, restart or shut down.
shut down. Okay.
But whatever I have open currently, as long as I have that little check mark, it'll reopen what is open when I close. The other important thing is like I'll go back and forth. It's like every time I return on my computer, I want my desktop 1 to be my email, desktop 2, like I just said. I also set iTunes to open up automatically to make sure that like my stuff is syncing on Wi-Fi. You have to set that up too. So, I mean, there's all these little things that you can do to make I could literally sit here for a week, 7 days solid, no eat, no sleep, and still not tell you everything. And like, as long as you have iCloud and you have the most important things like your mail, your notes, your contacts backed up through iCloud, you're good. iTunes, I'm more used for like music, not so much with business stuff, but mainly it's just music. That's like when you switch phones and stuff, like I do want it to back up so I can plug it in and pull it down from the cloud. Yeah. Yeah. What was I doing? Let's see. To go back to my little notes. Desktop. Okay. So, but down here, it's like these are the things that I use every day. And you want to make sure that that is cleaned up. So you want to organize your dock and then your desktop, which I'm working on these things right now. That's why these are here. But you should really never have anything there. Like, see, here's that test. So you can see, so I'm going to delete that, and then I'm going to empty my trash because I'm psycho about entering. I empty my trash every day. If I delete it, it's gone. And it takes up space on your computer. So, anything that slows me down, like, I don't like it. And then, like, whenever you take screenshots of something, like, you should really name it and put it where it goes. The other thing is the screenshot doesn't automatically change it to a JPEG. So watch, I just tap once, it highlights it, tap it again, and I can change it, computer stolen.jpg. Use JPEG. People are like, how do you change it to a JPEG? I'm like, you tap again, type what you want, .jpg, and you're done. But like PCs don't do that. I mean, there's all these little things that I'm like, right. Oh, absolutely, yeah. Again, I am all about the quickest, fastest, shortcut, clean way, So keep your desktop clean. Like anything living on your desktop, you guys, it's not really being backed up real time unless you're like on Carbonite or something like that, but really like it's just distraction and you don't even realize like what's distracting you. The other thing is if everybody has a computer, go up to system preferences, and there's a couple things that I want to point out in here that are really, 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 really important. Not all of them. There's some things I'm going to show you, and then there's some things I actually want you to do. Okay, so the dock, you can make these bigger, smaller, you can magnify them. I like mine at the bottom. You can go left, you can go right. I don't know why my brain just doesn't work that way. You can see there's all kinds of things you can do with that little menu, okay? So customize it to the way you want to see it. The other thing that this really is important in Spotlight, if you're going to use this little search thing to get shortcuts, you need to make sure all your stuff is checked. Because if it's not checked, so many times I'll tell somebody, or I'll look on a client's computer and I'll go up here to Spotlight search, and I'm like, where are your contacts? And I'll go in here and they don't have anything checked. They're like, I can't find anything on my computer. I'm like, that's because you don't have anything checked for the computer to search for it. And it's not hard, y'all. It's just you got to check the checkbox, right? The next thing, okay, I'm big on notifications. Not so much on my computer as I am online. No, big. I'm psycho about it, actually. So we'll do the phone in a minute. So on the computer, there's a couple things. All right, y'all know the difference between banners and alerts? Okay, so on a lot of these I have none. I don't want notifications. I don't want the flying in and fly out. So a lot of these have none. A banner means that it comes in and it goes out. So it's just like a quick like, hey, your next meeting's in 10 minutes, like wrap up. Or alerts, it comes out and it stays. And it doesn't move until you click move or done or whatever. So some things in my calendar, I'll set banners and alerts on purpose. I do want to see it in my notification center, which this is your notification center on your computer. And then I always want to know like what app is it talking about. So the badge icon. I have my sounds off. I hate sounds. I am so, I don't know. There's this psychologist that did this amazing video on how your brain is wired and how you perceive light and sound. And there's like 8 different kinds. And I'm the kind, which I already knew this because my mom said they went to a counselor because I was like a 1%er strong-willed child. Like she wanted to kill me kind of. So they had to, it's like before I could talk and I was 1, I would put everything in a line like all my toys. And then when she would pull the vacuum out, I would flip out like, don't touch my line, don't. And I still do the same thing as an adult. Like when we load in for weddings, I put all the linens in line. I have to see it all to even see like where it's going to go. Like it's just the way my brain works. And I tell them up front, like you can make fun of me, whatever, but my brain, I can't comprehend. They're like, where do you want this? I'm like, I don't know yet. Just let me lay it all out. I need it in a line, maybe 3 or 4 lines or color coded. I don't know, but I'll figure it out. It's going to look damn good. Trust me, but I need to see it all first. And I know that about myself. So it's like little things like that. Like I'm very sensitive to light. I'm very sensitive to sound. And it like in my car, I would get in with one of the girls that used to work with me and like this backup thing is like ding, ding, ding. And I'm like, shut up. Where's the button? And like she doesn't even hear it. Like she's so accustomed because she used to take my car all the time. So it's like you kind of have to pick up on like the senses of like what your clients, you know, and then like light. And even if after I went in to have my eyes operated on, like I'm even more sensitive to light. It could be pouring down raining and I'm wearing sunglasses and people are like, you do know it's raining. I'm like, yes, I do know. I also know in my office that every bulb is unscrewed. It is not out. My light bulbs are not out. They're just unscrewed. Because it gives me a headache. I had to order new bulbs for people think I'm really not high maintenance. But do you know how hard it is to find a non-LED bulb these days? Holy shit, okay? There's one website on all of Google, you know, that and I know way more about light bulbs than I want to know. Like where I moved, they have all this track lighting and it is like whoo, migraine central for me. And I got the lowest grade possible, and they're still like bright as hell. So anyway, it's like learning all that stuff. So some people are more sensitive to others. It's still distracting, no matter what 8 you are, okay? So pick and choose and go through this. Do you want stuff for FaceTime? Mail is off. I know I have 300 or 200 or 100. I don't want the sounds. I don't want it flying in. Now my cute little brother, I'm like, turn that shit off. And he's like, no, like I need to know every time. And I'm like, we'll talk in 60 days. And then you're going to be like, I need to focus and I need to push out the distractions. With text messages, you know, I like to know because that's how we communicate a lot. But I do not want people to see. So this is unchecked. Show message preview. Uncheck that. Reminders, I do want them to fly in and out. Again, I don't need sounds. I don't want anything for Safari. I don't want anything from iTunes. I don't want to know every time a picture's uploaded. I don't want to know any of the, like, oh my God, with Wunderlist, all of our team has their own list. We're going to talk about that. And like, if I have 10 lists and every single person is getting 10 things done a day, that's 100 notifications in one day. I don't need it sliding in. People are like, well, how do you know if your people are, like, they're done? I'm like, I just look on Wunderlist. Like, I don't need the freaking notifications. If you're hiring people, why are you babysitting them? Like, set a deadline. They can update things. We'll talk about that in a minute. I ended up, like, some of the stuff for Dropbox is good so I know what's going on. But every time you download an app, like, you got to tell it what to do. So that's just an example of, like, the whole notification thing. And again, you want to do this on your iPad and your phone. So in your settings, I think it's most important on here. Like, if I had to pick one, because this is what I look at, you go to your settings, you look at notifications, and this sucks, but you have to do it for every single flippin' app. So again, potty train yourself every time you download an app to go in and tell it what to do, right? So it's like, and it's in alphabetical order. And by the way, like, I've updated my phone, or when I get a new phone, and for some reason, all my little preferences go away. iTunes done back that up. It sucks. However, whenever I have to get a new phone, I try to prep my brain and make sure I don't have an event that weekend. And I literally set aside 20-ish hours just to reset me back up. So for the next 2 years, I'm good. But you've got to take that time to do it. So here's my calendar. I want to allow notifications. I want all my upcoming events, okay? Not just certain events. I want it to show in lock screen. You know, so you have to tell it, do I want invitations, shared calendar? You got to tell Siri what you want off and on. The other big thing on here for notifications. So, like, for instance, some apps, like, the law says an app is supposed to ask you to allow notifications. And it's like our brain is so used to seeing that, we don't even know that it's asking. Like, location services, do you want this? Like, there's some clients I work with where I take pictures and they do not want people to know where they are. So I need to turn my location services off. If you don't want people to find you, put your phone in airplane mode and get on Wi-Fi, you know? There's just all kinds of ways that you can get around things. The social media stuff is really what just kills me and can kill your productivity. So it's like, I know right now, this year we've really been focusing on Instagram. And so I went into Instagram. I don't want the sounds, but I do want to allow notifications. You know, I do want it to show this stuff, but most importantly, when I pull down right here, like Instagram, I can see everything, like all the way back from yesterday until I clear out my notifications. So again, like, this right here should be your recap of your day. So, like, we do something called the daily bullet. So, like, as Amanda is looking through emails and talking on the phone and, like, doing things with clients, it's like, I'm up here looking at the big picture, trying to sell business and teaching, and then she handles client communication. And there's some things she can take care of and I don't need to know. But then there's some things that either she needs to have a question. So instead of texting and emailing and back and forth, it's like, send me one email at the end of the day. And here's what I need to know, and here's the questions. And then she can get back to the client. And then we'll also have clients that text us, sometimes groups, sometimes individually. And, like, I don't respond because I want her to see it. So I'll email them and say, I got your text. Please send an email so that she can see it. We have one email in the company. I did that whole thing. Everybody have their own email. It don't work. At least it didn't work for me. People are high maintenance. Like, they want it right now. They want it yesterday. You know, again, set the expectation. So if you can spend the time and make your notifications, it's pretty productive. It's really productive, but you got to set it up. Energy saver is kind of important in my opinion. Like right now, I have it my computer to never sleep because I'm here. But usually I have it on, like if I walk away for 5 minutes, like I want it to go to sleep, even if it's on battery or power adapter. I've had to replace my battery in this computer 3 times, and this computer is not that old. But it's like attached to my hip all the time. My phone, same thing. Like the batteries run down pretty quickly. So it's good I learned the hard way, let your computer sleep, let it run down, let your stuff get to 0 and die out. At least once a month. None of us do that. We have to have it all the time. And it's like, I think I probably have 3 or 4 cords just to make sure, nothing dies. So this little system preferences, there's a lot in here. Keyboard, not too worried about. Mouse, not too worried about. Trackpad. Everybody click trackpad. And depending on how old your computer is, you're going to see different things. And this is where you set up all these shortcuts. So secondary click is with 2 fingers. Okay? So your old PC users, they hold down with this and then they move with this. Stop. Duct tape your hand to, I used to bring tape, to your leg. So teach your fingers, again, it's like potty training, like put your thumb here and teach your fingers and your hands these gestures. So 3 fingers and 2 fingers and 4, like it all does something different. So 2 fingers tapping, meaning you don't have to click. Tap to click. You want to tap with 1 finger. Again, you don't want to hear that. Hear that? Can't stand it. Can't stand it. You should be able, just tap. Tap, 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 tap. Hear the difference? So the other thing is with your scrolling. I know when Apple changed the direction, everybody flipped out. Do y'all remember that when it used to scroll this way? Do you know why they changed? So it would do the exact same thing. And you know who started that? Facebook. Yeah. So there's a lot of psychology behind that. So the reason Apple changed all the computer gestures is because Facebook started this scrolling thing on 1 page. So you notice, like, when we relaunched all of our website and stuff, I hated scrolling. Remember Flash? So my stuff was in Flash. It was beautiful. Oh. Then we had to change it. Then everything was a different page. So you could see everything at once. Now, all the websites, scroll, scroll, scroll. We just relaunched. Scroll, 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 scroll. I hate it, but since all the psychology is what Facebook does, what Instagram does, y'all, it's crazy. So our analytics from when we changed from like having a drop-down menu in our website, so our average like use time was like 2 minutes that people would click around. Now that they can scroll, they'll stay on for 5 minutes. It's insane. So it's really, really important that if you're doing it on your phone, you need to do it the same way across the board. Because if not, you don't even know you're doing it until you figure out. So zooming in and out, you can take 2 fingers, make it bigger. So like right here, I can, not every program does it, I guess. But typically, like when you're on the internet, it's like I can make it bigger, I can make it smaller. I use these 2 fingers. Some people do these 2 fingers. So you can make it bigger, make it smaller. And it's just a lot easier than going up here to view, it's like there's so many fun shortcuts. Smart zoom, see how you do 2 fingers, it makes it bigger and smaller. You can rotate pictures with 2 fingers. And then more gestures is my favorite. So swipe between pages, which really means desktops. So it's 4 fingers back and forth. Just back and forth. I usually use F3 though to see where I'm at. So F3, it takes the place of minimizing windows. Do y'all, like, if you have, like, these, remember doing this and it puts it down here? Oh, I can't stand it because I can't see everything. And then if you have 20 things open, your screen, it's like this big. When I can hit F3 and I'm like, okay, here's this, it's just a much more productive way to pop back and forth. So I don't understand. Again, some of this stuff is just re-potty training your brain. So swipe between full screen, this is full screen apps, I guess. Swipe between pages, trackpad thing that is life-changing. And that's under accessibility. This little guy down here. I don't know why in the heck they moved it, but they did. One day I'm teaching a class and I'm like, where is it? And I'm like, oh, now I look like I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And then I Googled it and then they moved it. I don't know why. But anyway. You go to your accessibility, and this is where you're going to find mouse and trackpad. And this is really, 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 really important. So you go to trackpad options and make sure, like you can do your speed here, like how fast your little cursor moves. But all I care about is enabling 3-finger drag. And it will change so much. So make sure 3-finger drag is on so you can like drag your things around. And that's really right now all I care about for that one. You want to make sure that, heaven forbid you have a printer, but if you need to set it up, this is where you do it. Sound. It's like I have to go in and change my sound when you're using different ports, like to the microphone. I had internal speakers, I had these speakers, I had these speakers, and it's like your output and your input. Like you got to know where your sound's coming from, especially if you're going to use all this stuff. The other important thing, iCloud. Just like on your phone, you want to go here and make sure all your stuff is checked. Please. Please.
And what was that under?
This is,
Accessibility?
yep. No, iCloud.
Oh, sorry.
And so back to my Mac, don't check that. Just check Find My Mac. Because that means, like, if you lost your Mac and you got it back in 2 weeks, it could go, like, back to your Mac. I don't know. I back everything up on iCloud. Make sure, the most important things, Find My Mac. I do have keychain turned on. Make sure your notes, make sure your reminders, your calendar, your contacts, your photos. Those are the most important to make sure that you're really utilizing iCloud appropriately. And so I travel a ton, right? And so when I'm traveling, I want my calendar to stay in Central Time for multiple reasons. And again, I learned this the hard way. So I'm traveling and literally for 45 days I'm gone. I have a girl doing my calendar, and I'm on the go constantly, right? Phone call, just so much stuff. So she was in Central Time here, and so she was putting things on my calendar, and then we didn't have our things synced correctly. So I was like, something is going on with my calendar. Like someone is playing a joke on me. And it's like, oh my, so finally I called app and they're like, oh, you just have to go into here and check your settings. So I love this app on my phone. I use it all the clock and then the world clock. So I have everywhere that I travel pretty frequently, like LA, like I was in Dubai, Bangkok, New York, Denver, Vegas, Miami, Cancun, Nashville, Frankfurt, Kingston. Like these are the places lately, and then I'll clean it out every once in a while. But it's like, that's how I know what time it is, where that is. But I want my calendar, and again, this is just me. And then also just to make sure we go the extra step to put it in the calendar to where, like, if I'm traveling, it's like 12 p.m. Central Time, Pacific Time. Like, we ask. And then all of our clients and vendors, it's kind of like a habit now to make sure that we're saying what time zone. Like, I know a few times, like, we were texting back and forth, and, like, sometimes, like, if I know the person and, like, it's immediate, like, I'll just be like, yeah, I'll put that on my calendar. I'll put it on the calendar. And then I'll forget, and then it'll pop up on her calendar. But, like, she's in a different time zone, but, like, I didn't really think to ask, and it didn't really go through. So this is why you have a process, because she probably would have remembered to ask, you know? So again, it's like my time zone's central. I don't want it to change. So this set time zone automatically using current location, I turn off. Now on my phone, I do want it in that time zone. But my calendar will still show central time. And the red bar on your calendar shows what time you are, where you are. But if it's 2 o'clock there and I have a call at 2 o'clock, like it when you look at your calendar, you can differentiate, like what time is it right now versus what time is it in central time. Y'all may not have trouble with that, but okay, the clock. I like it to announce the date and time on the hour every hour. It's how I know, like, okay, I need to wrap up. It's just a good reminder. I have it off right now, or do not disturb is on. So that's why, like, announce the time on the hour, and you can customize the voice. Some people think it's annoying, but again, it just, because I lose track of time, especially when I'm having fun, which is like just about every day, and I just lose track of time. I also have to set reminders constantly in my calendar. Or like if I have meetings like back to back to back to back and I have to drive to 5 different places in a day, which I cannot stand, I'm like, hey Siri, wake me up at 4:30 p.m.
Your alarm is set.
My phone thinks I sleep literally all day because I'm like, remind me. And it's the reminders and the alarm don't do the same thing. So the reminders, if it's on vibrate or do not disturb, don't ding ding. But I can be like, as long as your ringer's not turned all the way down, and like even when it's on do not disturb, like my alarm is so loud, but it's for a point, you know, like okay, gotta go.
For me, but on the
So go to settings and open Siri and search, and you have to tell it what to do. So you want to check listen for Hey Siri, press home for Siri, allow Siri when locked, yes or no. Siri voice, voicemail feedback, blah, 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 suggestions and lookup, suggestions and search. Again, here's all your apps. Go in and tell Siri what to do with it. So like for Waze, so now I'm like, hey Siri, open the Waze app. Uh-huh. So see, she just opened the Waze app.
She's doing a tour. She's in the background.
I was like, what is Siri doing?
Then I can search and like 216 Union Street, Nashville. I mean, I voice dictate everything. And I know it doesn't always work when there's background noise, and I know she doesn't always get it right, but the more you use it and the more customizable it becomes. You know, it's like you really are missing out when you're not using these features. So Time Machine, you gotta set it up, okay? So like right now, my last backup was yesterday at 6:31. My oldest backup, which I just changed hard drives. So you select your disk, backup automatically. You've got to set this up. So like right now, 716 gigabytes is used of the 1 terabyte. And you got to have it plugged in, guys. So if you don't have like a screen or something, every time you go home and you put your laptop while you're sleeping, plug the hard drive in. Or you can get Time Capsule, or you can rely on iCloud, but because so many bad things have happened to me, I'm rather psycho. So that's why I use a lot of backup. Woo.
Do you use airport time capsule?
So it's the same thing as a hard drive. So it will, again, you have to be on the same Wi-Fi network for everything to sync, and then it'll back up through Wi-Fi. My thing though, again, if the house burns down or the office burns down, Time Capsule's gone, unless you have it in a safe. And FYI, if you have it in a fireproof safe, it can't get Wi-Fi inside there. Don't ask me how I know that. Just plug it in. So when I'm traveling though, like when I'm gone for 20 days straight, it starts telling me your computer hasn't been backed up in 7 days. 10-day. Like, it tells me, which it's okay because everything is in Dropbox or Google Drive, so I don't freak out. But I definitely, like, don't put stuff on my desktop and then leave. Like, I do something with it. It's just like, why when you know? So here's Carbonite. Everybody's not going to have this, but if you have Carbonite, it'll be there. This little thing is amazing. Chrome Remote Desktop Host. Amanda and I just got to use it. Download it. It's free. It's a Google app, meaning you have to get it through this little app thing up here. And you go down here to the web store. It's free. So with Chrome Remote Desktop, I can remote into your computer or you can remote into my computer. So like if you're in China and I'm here and you're freaking out because something's wrong with your computer, like you just give me the access code. It's free as long as we have internet. We have to have good Wi-Fi. And then you can share screens. And then like we can both move it around. So a lot of people, they're like, how do you go all over the place, teach these technology classes and then like actually help people? Like, guys, it's not hard. Like, I just log in, and then if I want them to see my face, because there are some clients, you guys, were like, in order for them to pay attention to what I'm doing, they have to see my face. So I have a stand, and I'm FaceTiming them, and then I'm controlling this. So there's a way. It's a lot easier when I'm there, and I'm just like, oh, you click, 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 done. And then there's some companies where, like, I just go in and set all their stuff up, and then I train them all on how to use it on only what they need to know. And then, like, every year or so, like, we'll reconvene. But a lot, like, the stuff I'm teaching you guys today, like, you should know how it works. You know, and in business, too. Just in life. But there's a lot of things that are, like, with 1Password. You should only have to do it one time, right? So it's like, one company in New York, the guy had, like, 15 employees. He paid for all their iPhones, all their iPads, all their computers. Do you think they use them for work? Hell no. Hell no. So I lined them all up one day, and he's like, I want Wunderlist, I want 1Password. So basically I assessed everything. I'm like, how are you running? Like, how do you sleep at night? Like, you were running off of notebook paper on the wall, taped every Saturday, and highlighters. Blue if it came out of the cooler, pink if it went into the van. I'm just like, what are you doing? And y'all, I mean, they had stupid money. Like, so much, they didn't even know how to use it correctly. He's like, well, we're over a $5 million. And I was like, well, you're working a lot harder than smarter. And after we did the wedding together, he's like, okay, how did you do this? And I was like, listen, just pay me for a week, and it's going to change your life. Yeah. Then I'm assessing, like, I fix all their computers, I train them, I hire new people through True Colors. I spent a lot of time in New York that year. And then I'm just asking questions about, like, some of the American Express stuff because I was learning. Then I got into their numbers, which was not the plan, but I'm like, okay, I can't not tell you these things because I know that they'll make a difference. So then I'm looking through things, and then I'm like, so why is this on your business Amex, on your black card? And he's like, what is that? She's in jail. She embezzled lots of money, y'all. It was bad. And so not only, I just went in to format some freaking computers, and I ripped his life apart. And that's what I'm saying. Like, it's so hard to trust people.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, you got to trust and you got to outsource a little bit. But she was taking advantage. She did not see it as stealing, by the way. Of course, she hates me too, right? It was on the news. It was bad. This was years ago. However, he will tell you that I took his business and grew it in 12 months, working smarter, not harder. So instead of doing 100 events, do 50. I'm like, why don't you have a minimum? I'm confused. And y'all, he's a one-stop shop. He does the flowers, he does the lighting, he's got the drapes, he's got the linens. I mean, one of the most beautiful shops I've ever seen. But I'm like, everything's in here, and that is not good. You get hit by a bus, what's your partner going to do? I said, oh my God. He's like, I'm almost 60 years old, and this little 20-year-old blonde comes bebopping up here, and you just like turn my life upside down. And I'm like, well, I'm not 20, thanks. But he's like, wow, you can never judge a book by its cover. He's like, I'll never forget the first day I met you and you came bebopping in here. And he's like, you're aggressive, You're rude sometimes. You're selfish sometimes. You know, it's just like, I'm sorry, but not sorry, but my brain doesn't operate like that. Like, you're way blue in this area, and you got to understand when it comes to business, I'm not angry or upset. I am passionate about it, and I want you to run your shit good, because no one is going to take you aside. And people would think we were arguing. Like, people think Jay and I are arguing and we'll, like, our voices will get louder. And their friend, like, when he set me up on QuickBooks years ago, he was on The Next Great Baker, and we had a bunch of people over at my house, and they're all watching it, and he and I are in there setting it up, and he's like, well, why can't you do this? I'm like, because I just don't do it like that. Like, that's just not possible. Well, why can't you do this? I'm like, because I don't want to. And it's like, I wasn't mad. I was just like, I'm not going to change. Quit asking me the same question 5 times over and over. It's like a psychology test. Like, I'm not going to change. And then we open the door, and we're just like, and then the friends are like, are you guys going to kill each other? And we're like, huh? What do you mean? Like, it's just like we're oblivious to, like, what's happening. Anyway, I promise you, if you train your brain with all of your devices the same, you will start to see how much more productive it is. Like, I can close my eyes and tell you my top folders. And I could probably, if you tapped on my work folder, I know that it's Dropbox, Google Drive is right underneath that. Like, you start to memorize, like, your gestures. So Dropbox, Google Drive. So some people, your brain reads left to right, not up and down. So there's Dropbox, Sheets, Docs, Drive, GoodNotes, HelloSign, Evernote, Sketch, and Adobe Ideas, which I have all this in here very quickly. But again, do you guys see how important it is to, like, set up your stuff and, like, the psychology of everything? It's so, so, so important. And they don't teach that at the Apple Store.
No, they don't.
Okay? They don't. I learned this the hard way.